Again, good evening, everyone. I will call to order the State of Rhode Island Coastal Resources Management Council's Subcommittee, Rights of Way Subcommittee to order. It's a continued matter in the Spring Avenue Rights of Way. Anything, Council, you need to address?
Nothing. No, Mr. Chair, I think we can continue. I don't, if council would remind me where exactly we left off, and we can continue from there.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Again, William Conley for the town of Westerly. Left off with, we concluded testimony and had represented the council and the committee that we would present our next witness at this time. And so with your permission, I would like to proceed.
Please proceed.
Thank you. So the town would ask Elizabeth Stunfield to take that chair right over there. Thank you.
I'm going to have you speak right into that microphone. And I'll swear you in. So will you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Would you please state and spell your name for the record?
Elizabeth Stungio, ELIZABETH
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening. Thank you for being here tonight.
You're welcome.
You just told us your name. Can you tell us your place of employment, please?
I work at the Westerly Town Hall. I am the new assessor.
When you say you're the new assessor, how long have you been the assessor at the town of Westerly?
2 months.
Now, I believe Patty Howell was your immediate predecessor.
Yes, she was.
And just for clarity, as a housekeeping matter, when we began these proceedings, the town had identified Patty Howell as a witness as a tax assessor. And
Is your microphone on? Some people are saying they can't hear you.
I apologize.
That's okay.
And so, for housekeeping purposes, when we began these proceedings, we had identified Patty Howell as the assessor because she was when this all started. But as you just heard, Elizabeth Scungio is now in that position. Prior to becoming the tax assessor a couple of months ago, have you served any of the roles within the tax assessor's office?
I was the assistant assessor. I started in June last year. And then before that, I used to work for a retail company, Vision Government Solutions, for 15 years.
Blanca, I was going to ask you to keep your voice up. I know you have a microphone there, and I apologize, but I'm going to ask you to keep your voice up so that the stenographer can get all your testimony, all the members of the panel can hear you, and frankly, all the folks who are here tonight are interested in hearing what you have to say as well.
Okay.
Thank you. Now, what is the role of the tax assessor for the town of Westerly?
My role is to make sure we have all the values, do values on all the properties. Anything that comes up, any problems arise like this, I am here to represent the town.
Okay. So when you say one of your tasks is to establish value for properties, is that all real and personal property within the town of Westerly?
Yes, it is.
Now, doing that and maintaining and performing that job regarding the value of real and personal property, do the duties of the tax assessor's office also include, for instance, updating and maintaining information with deeds, exemptions, mapping, all those kinds of things?
Yes, that's all under making sure the real estate, the houses are on what lot they're supposed to be on for GIS. We make sure that's all correct. If something got changed, we make sure we change it within GIS.
So in doing that, as you described, how you do that, what type of documents does your office update, maintain, in performing those tasks?
We get all the deeds, so we update all the deeds on the property cards. If someone comes in from zoning, building department, and they do lot splits, we do record that in our office. We also scan them. I have a person who does scan them. I double check to make sure they're all correct, and then we update it on GIS.
Now, in response to my question just before my last question, you referenced GIS. Is that the Geographic Information System?
Yes, it is.
And what is that? You referenced the GIS. It's the Geographic Information System. Exactly what is that? Can you explain that to us?
What that is all the maps in Westerly. So what we can do is we can pull up all the streets here, see all the houses. It's a tool we use when we're trying to locate properties, make sure our properties are where they are. If we do a subdivision, we make sure that that's all updated so we know exactly where the subdivisions are. It's also a great tool to get around so we know where all our streets are. We make sure that our streets are lined up with our original plat maps. It's a great tool. It's interactive. You can click on everything. It will tell you who owns the property, where it is. It's just a really cool tool. I like it. I'm old school, but I actually like the GIS.
So is it fair to say, based on what you just said then, that essentially your office has a record of all of the lots of real property in the town of Westerly?
Yes, we do.
Now, you just said that you're old school, but nevertheless, you like the GIS. Let's talk about being old school for a moment, if we may.
Okay.
All right. So prior to using GIS, how would how did Westerly maintain a record of its lots of real property?
I'm not exactly sure how Westerly did it. There was original maps. James, forgot his name. They were the ones who originally did the scan, did all the mapping. As years go on, we just copy it. We just make sure that it's the same, unless something went through zoning and they did lot splits or subdivisions or anything like that. Then we would send it to our mapper and they would readjust all the maps. I have old maps where you can see all different addresses on them, different numbers, because it was lot split. So that gets updated every year if something changes. But back then it was original maps. According to what I researched, it was a lot of aerial shots from satellites, or I'm not that technical, but that's where all the information came from.
Great, thank you. So if I use the term plat maps, would that be what you just described to us as that mapping that was done in the creation of those maps?
Yes.
Now, you just explained to all of us that there's a ongoing process with the plat maps, that they're updated, and you also explained how you use GIS. Can you explain how that integrates, if I'm understanding what you're saying?
So with the plat maps, every area has a plat map. So it's like map 1 contains X amount of streets. So in that map, if something changes, a lot split, a merge, anything, those maps are updated through zoning, then to our office, which they get scanned, and then we eventually update it to GIS. back in the day, the maps are printed once a year. So back in the day, they would write on the maps, they would make the lines on the maps. It was different back then. Write the names on the, a line on the map, put in the numbers. Every map has, you look at their deed and you're saying one side has 185 feet. Then the next bottom piece has 50 feet and the other one 185. We'll make it simple in the top 50. If that's what that lot is supposed to be, but it's 300 by 300, we would put in a line, we would divide it according to the split, and we would give everybody a different number, which goes through us, but it also goes through 911. But it does come through the town hall.
Okay. And just for the sake of completeness, what is 911?
911 is the emergency rescue. It's the fire department, it's the ambulance. So the maps have to be updated with the correct addresses. God forbid something happens and there's a lot split or a merge, that information has to be correct. Otherwise, the fire department or the rescue is not getting to where you need. So that's important that we make sure that's all correct also.
So speaking of fire departments, does the town of Westerly have fire districts within its municipal corporate boundaries?
It does.
Okay. And do you know how many fire districts are located within the town of Westerly by any chance?
That part I really didn't look up.
Okay. By any chance, are you familiar with the Weekapaug Fire District?
I am.
And how are you familiar with the Weekapaug Fire District?
Before I was the assessor, I was the assistant. So my job was to do all the properties down by the waterfront, new construction, things like that. So those fire districts, like Weekapaug, those fire districts I'm very familiar with. I'm also in that area an awful lot in that fire district just because of all the new construction they have going on.
Okay.
So I'm familiar with that area.
So one of the jobs of it sounds like one of the jobs of the tax assessor's office too is to keep an eye on improvements to real estate.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, since you, as you explained to us, you worked within the tax assessor's office, particularly down in that area in the waterfront, and that would include the Weekapaug Fire District, right?
Correct.
They told us about the GIS system, explained to us how it works. Does the tax assessor's office, within that GIS system that you told us about, does that have a means to sort of view overlays of the various fire districts within the town?
Yes.
And since you worked down in the Weekapaug Fire District, as you've explained to us, would you by any chance know how many lots there are within the Weekapaug Fire District?
About 5,000. Around that.
Okay.
That's vacant and homes.
Say that again,
It's
please.
vacant and improved properties.
Okay, so some lots are vacant,
Yes,
some lots are improved.
yes.
Okay. Let me take one moment, please.
Okay.
So with the permission of the subcommittee, I've asked that you go to joint B. Everybody should have joint B. Got it? I want to wait just 1 minute so that we're all looking at the same thing, right? going to show you a document that everybody else is already looking at. Okay. For the record, that's been identified in this proceeding as joint exhibit B. You recognize that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, what is it?
It's my plat map. And it's part of Spray Rock that goes to there's a nice beach, that dirt road that goes down there, so yeah.
And is that, when you say it's a plat map, is that from the GIS system that you described to us?
From the GIS system and also from our original maps.
So it's the original map put into the GIS system and,
Correct.
all right.
Yep.
And what you're looking at is in fact what the tax assessor's office would use in identifying that section of the Weaver Park Fire District.
Correct.
So just take a look at that for a moment. And you described to us that in that process of mapping and put it in the GIS system, that there were lots, and I think you also said that you could tell where your roads are as well. Is that right?
Correct.
And in looking at joint exhibit B, are the lots and roads both depicted on that map?
Yes, they are.
And for somebody who had no experience as you do looking at those GIS maps, how would somebody on their own differentiate between a lot and a road, you know, a lot and something else on that map?
So remember I said something about the numbers on each side of the property?
I do.
Okay, so the numbers here. And then there's a solid piece with numbers here, goes down. That's a lot. If you look at the road, there's no numbers. So it's not, there's no numbers, like you don't have 150 feet on the side. And it's continuous. So same thing with going down where it says Weaver Park Fire District, it's continuous. Down here is continuous, there's no numbers saying that this is a lot, it's not cut off also from the top. Does that make sense?
It does. I appreciate that. And if you can make me understand it, you've really accomplished something. Do I understand then from what you've just described to me that the lots are individually numbered with a plat and includes measurements of frontage and sidelines?
Right, we call it our meets and bounds, but yeah.
Okay. Now, I believe you said that as you pointed to the map and you said it's continuous. By it's continuous, you're referring to the roads on the
The
map?
road is continuous, plus it doesn't have any plat number map, like every lot has a
general principle for your office. When you look at those lots on those maps, those lots are lots subject to taxation, correct?
Correct.
And those streets, those unified roads that you've described to us, are they subject to taxation?
No, because they're just a road.
So the property that is the road is essentially exempt from taxation. They're not taxed.
No,
Now, you're familiar with the Weekapaug Fire District. You have experience specifically working in the Weekapaug Fire District as a member of the Tax Assessor's Office. Does the Weekapaug Fire District own lots of real estate within the town of Westerly?
say that again?
Sure. Does the Weekapaug Fire District own lots, real estate within the town of Westerly?
I'm not sure.
And those occasions in which you, as you explained, would go down to the Waterfront area in the Weekapaug Fire District, did you ever identify any, or have cause to learn that there are any lots owned by the Weekapaug Fire District?
Unless there was some reason for me to, but right now, I just haven't. I mean, I know a lot of the homes down there, if there's properties. That's something I have to look up, and it's just clicking on the maps,
Yeah.
GIS, and it'll tell me who owns the properties.
Yeah.
Have I really done that? No, I haven't. Should I? Maybe.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Well, let me ask you this, if you know.
Okay.
Okay, if you know. Would real estate owned by the Weekapaug Fire District, would that be subject to taxation or exempt from taxation, if you know?
I'm not sure.
So can we go back to Joint Exhibit B, please? And can you look at that area between lot 21 and lot 18 that I directed your attention to just a few minutes ago?
Okay.
Is that subject to taxation?
No,
And why not?
because it's a road. No one owns it.
One moment. Yeah. So what is this?
That's. With the next meeting.
Yeah, we provided, right?
Yeah.
So when excuse me, when I just go to identify it.
Yeah.
Right. If I may.
Yes.
Have enough copies to share when I get it identified. Okay. Yeah, okay, well,
Again?
gonna ask you to take a minute and look at the document I just handed. So a few minutes ago, you explained to me that prior to using GIS, the town used printed plat maps.
Correct.
And looking at the document that I just handed to you, do you recognize it?
Yes, I do.
And can you tell me what it is, please?
It's a plat map with the roads on it.
And by looking at the map, can you tell me when this document was created by looking at the information on the map?
1980,
And how do you know it was created in 1980?
because I have the original maps and I looked at the original maps to see where the streets changed, where names got changed as time went on.
Okay.
So I looked at the original map for it.
Now, you explained to us a few moments ago that it's a routine practice for the tax assessor's office to create these tax plats.
Yes,
And so it's fair to say that this record is routinely made and kept in the ordinary course of the business of the tax assessor's office.
correct.
And you talked about the mappers and the process that they use to do this. So is it fair to say that these maps were drafted by people with knowledge of the town's lots, roads, and the information that is recorded on the plat map?
Absolutely.
And just explain to us, you know what this is because you looked at the original. Is this a true and accurate copy of that original?
Yes, it is.
And I'm going to direct your attention, if I may, that the handwriting toward the left side of the map.
Okay.
And do you see that?
Yeah.
And can you explain to us what that writing is?
Oh, you're talking about this, correct?
Yeah, please.
This is a document that the assessor, that Dave Thompson, he was the assessor.
Dave Thompson, did you say?
Yes. He said this was an original map. And then it was notarized.
Okay, so the Thompson is THOMPSON.
Yes,
Okay. And who is this fellow, Dave Thompson?
David Thompson was the assessor prior to Patty.
And you said it was notarized?
Yes, it was.
And you recognize who the notary is?
Yes, I do.
And can you tell us the date of the certification?
Date of the certification was 8/19/2022.
No, you know what? I directed you to.
Oh, you directed me to the
I
wrong side.
directed
So
you to
the other
other
side,
I'm gonna go you back
2020.
where David, where Mr.
20.
Thompson.
It was 10/22/2020.
Thank you. I'm sorry about that.
Sorry, no, I jumped ahead.
And to your personal knowledge, Mr. Thompson was the tax assessor when he certified this, right?
Yes, he was.
Move this full, please.
No objection. Full. Now we have a couple of different proponents exhibits going up to 46. Is there a particular number we should be at here, just so we don't?
I think
You're asking me?
I think we're on 25.
So it looks like there are
So I
18
have,
through 16. Has this already been in the supplement that was provided for proponents exhibits?
oh, this has not been,
This was from the AGs.
yeah.
Yeah, this was.
Okay,
submitted
so
for
we're gonna
this
say
hearing.
this is the town's exhibit. How do we want to go about marking this?
I had that we were doing just proponents exhibits, joint exhibits and fire district.
I have that as well, but if we do joint exhibits, it looks like there's already a space for 20, because I was at 24 is the next one myself.
Yeah.
But it looks like we have a 24 in the,
Yeah, so I had 24 was the close-up of exhibit 23, so I believe this should be marked as 25 then. Proponents 25.
we also have a 25 already.
Oh, yes, I think there are some things at the last hearing that weren't entered.
So do we want to move this just for the sake of avoiding any confusion in the future, move this towards 47? I believe that's after Attorney Rubin's.
Okay.
As far as I know, that's as far as.
That's fine.
they're gonna-
47 works.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel that I have the best interest in what we done for as long as.
I just want to have the record to be clear.
Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate
We'll
your
mark
help
it
on
as
that.
47.
I
Proponents
appreciate your help on
47.
that. Thank you. Very good.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Liz, thank you for coming in this evening. Really appreciate it. Somebody probably was the process gonna have a chance to ask you a few questions.
Oh, I'm not done yet.
Okay, I have no further questions. Thank you.
I put your name down, related to
Sarah Wall.
that.
Thank you.
Number, and I was trying to do a designation.
Studio, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Joseph Farside from the Fire District. Testified a few minutes ago that you estimated there to be about 5,000 lots within the Weekapaug Fire District. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell me what that estimate is based on?
Our state records, I looked on that to see how many lots there were. We have a program where I can pull up and see the fire districts and how many properties are in the fire district.
Now, you are not a surveyor, correct?
No, I am not.
And you've never had been a surveyor before.
No, I have not.
Now, let's go back, if we can. To what was marked as, Joint Exhibit B. You have it. Work. You testified a few minutes ago with regard to the piece of land between lots 21 and 18. That it was part of the road network. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
And I think you even said no one owns it because it's a road. Do I have that correct?
Right.
So what about Spray Rock Road? That's shown there. Does any entity or person that you know of own Spray Rock Road?
As far as I'm aware of, no. I mean, I could be wrong, but when we use GIS, we click on a road, there is no ownership to it.
So GIS does not show who owns a particular road. correct?
No.
And that's because roadways in general are not taxed, correct?
Correct.
And looking a little bit farther to the north, you see Shawmut Avenue. You see that?
Yes, I do.
And I suppose you have the same answer if asked with regard to Shawmut Avenue, whether you know if anybody owns that, any person or entity owns Shawmut Avenue.
Objection as to relevancy.
Witness was asked a few moments ago about taxation of roadways shown in this joint exhibit B. So we have a berth to inquire about the roadway shown on here, not just the roadway that the witness has opined exists between lot 17 and 18. It's all relevant to what's being taxed and not taxed.
Continue.
Thank you. I'm going to show you, I'm going to hand up to you document that was previously marked the District Exhibit 1. This is the list of private roads in Westerly, Rhode Island.
Objection. There's no proof in this record that that's a list of private roads. It's referred to that way by the fire district, but there's never been any proof presented to us in this hearing that that is in fact a list, a formal approved list of private roads in the town of Westerly. So there's gonna be some kind of foundation that in fact is that before you can show it to this witness.
There does have to be a foundation for this. Are you able to establish that with this witness?
Well, Mr. Hartman, the document came in as an exhibit in connection with a prior witness. It's District's Exhibit 1. And it's got, the witness has testified that no one owns streets as far as the GIS system is concerned, but we have a document here produced by the town itself that we have introduced at a prior hearing, and it is already District Exhibit number 1, subject to certain caveats that were put on the document at the time by the subcommittee and yourself.
Those caveats are important. The document at that time over our objection was admitted de bene with those caveats. So it's still not a full exhibit. No foundation has yet to be laid for that document. So without any foundation, it should not be used for this witness who has absolutely not testified anything about this document.
If I may ask the witness a few questions, I think that'll get resolved this issue.
So I'm gonna allow the question to go forward and Mr. Conley can continue to press his objection as you go forward.
Understood, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Gungio, have you seen this particular document before?
I have,
And have you seen it in the files belonging to the town of Westerly?
it's on a database. So it's part of the files.
It's part of the town of Westerly's files, correct?
Right.
Okay. This is a list of private roads within the town of Westerly, correct?
Objection. Again, it's a document. We produced it, so we know it came from the town, we produced it. But there's no foundation that this witness is the right person with the right knowledge in order to answer that question. There has to be foundation, both for the document and foundation for the witness itself. You know, when we laid our foundation, to get our exhibit in full, we went through all the steps required by the rules of evidence. We're essentially ignoring the rules of evidence and just putting this in. That's where we're at this point.
Mr. Forsythe, do you have any response to that?
The witness has already indicated that she's seen the document in the town's own files and that she recognizes it as a list of private roads in the town of Westerly, Rhode Island, as a society.
No, you know, she reckons, no, that's a leap of logic that is not supported by the witness's answer. What the witness said is that she was the documents that said a list of private roads. This witness did not say that this is a list of the private roads in the town of Westerly. That's not what this witness said.
Mr. Forsythe, you can continue.
Thank you. Now, the title of the document is List of Private Roads in Westerly, Rhode Island, correct?
That's what it says, correct?
And do you see on the right-hand side of the right-hand column of the document, it's in alphabetical order. So if you go down to the letter S, you see an entry for Shawmut Avenue. You see that?
Objections for the reasons previously stated.
Mr. Forsythe, could you clear up the foundation? Could you try to build a little bit more foundation for this?
In what capacity have you come across this document before in your work as within the tax assessor's office?
I just saw it a couple of days ago. Normally I wouldn't look for that.
So you were looking for it a couple of days ago. Do I have that correct?
No, I was shown it a couple of days ago.
And who showed it to you?
The person that has all the files, she's an assistant assessment person. So we were looking for maps. She came across this and she said, here's another list, so I saw the list.
And does the town of Westerly have a policy regarding taxation of roads that are not owned by the town?
I have no idea.
Are you aware if there are roads within the town of Westerly that are not owned by the town?
I don't know.
Are you aware if there are roads within the town of Westerly that are owned by the town?
I don't know.
In what context were you shown the document?
We were looking for maps. And this was in with certain categories we have in our files. And it was something that came up. I didn't know about it and I didn't know there was a list of private roads here in Westerly.
And so if you go back to Joint Exhibit B,
Okay,
which is in the ballot book, sorry to jump around on this. That parcel between lots 17 and 18, you know let me ask this. Do you see the parcel I'm describing, the strip of land between lots 17 and 18?
yes,
Okay. And the lot 17 also has the number 21 on it, correct?
yes,
Okay. And your awareness is that that strip of land is not taxed, correct?
which strip of land,
A strip of land that exists between lots 17 and 18 on Joint Exhibit B.
as far as I'm aware of, it's not
Okay. And that's because it does not have a lot number, correct?
correct.
Okay. But you don't know sitting here who owns that parcel, correct?
Not as, I mean, when I click on it, I can't find, like even Spray Rock. Who owns Spray Rock? I don't know who owns it, so that's an extension. So as far as, it's just, to me, when I look at it, to me, it's just part of the road. It's just an extension off of the road.
And that's because as far as taxation goes, who owns a roadway or a roadbed isn't relevant because you're not taxing roadways or roadbeds.
Correct.
Understood. And did you happen to click on where it shows Shawmut Avenue when you were clicking on the GIS map?
Objection, with Sherman Ave, was still no relevance as to Sherman Avenue. None.
Shawmut Avenue is a road on the town of Westerly private roads list. And the witness is testifying that the parcel, the lot shown between lot 17 and 18 is untaxed. And the inference is therefore that it's somehow owned by the town, when we have other private roads on the same map that are also not taxed. And I'm just trying to establish that fact.
So if we follow all the connections that were just explained to us in order to get to that question, one of the fundamental pieces of that relies on a document that's not in evidence, hasn't been authenticated, and for which this witness has just shown cannot establish any foundation for it. So because the question relies on a document that is not a full exhibit in these proceedings, that this witness cannot explain how it was created, the question is objectionable. Well, a number besides relevance is that it has no foundation whatsoever because it relies on a document that has no.
Nonetheless, I'm going to allow Mr. Forsyth to continue.
You know if Shawmut Avenue is taxed?
I have no idea.
If it was taxed, would you know that?
Unless I go up to the tax office and see if it's being taxed through QDS. I mean, I don't know what roads are taxed here.
Thank you. Bear with me one more, Miss. Thank
Okay.
you. Okay, I'd like to approach the witness with a copy of 1942 Weaver Fire District Charter statutory amendment. This was disclosed to the proponents a week ago.
You just tell us again, Jim. What's that? Yeah. But you didn't disclose it, right? Thank you.
Something. Thank you. So do you have one more for me? Thank you.
Scungio, do you have occasion in your role as the tax assessor, or have you had occasion in your role as assistant assessor to review statutes relative to taxation authorities, Westerly?
No,
I'd like to draw your attention to text that shows up beneath the two double lines on page 500 of what I handed you. The text says an act, an amendment of, and in addition to an act entitled, an act to incorporate the Weekapaug Fire District passed at the January session 1937 as amended. You see that?
yes, I do.
And beneath that, it says it is enacted by the General Assembly as follows, colon, then there's a section 26. You see that?
Yes, I do.
Section 26 says, the district may take, purchase, and hold real estate or personal estate and alienate and convey the same. And subject to limitations herein contained, may borrow money and incur indebtedness. All real and personal estate held by the district and not used for commercial purposes shall be exempt from taxation. You see that?
Yeah, I do.
Does the town of Westerly ever do an assessment of what property is being held by the fire district, but not for commercial purposes?
I can't answer. I have no idea.
To your knowledge, let's go back to Exhibit B. Let's find that. Just in your capacity as a tax assessor, you don't have any knowledge that the parcel, a piece of land, what we call it, between lots 17 and 18 is being used for commercial purposes, do you?
Not that I'm aware of.
I don't have anything further for the witness, Ms. Scungio. I appreciate you coming in.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing further?
He didn't move that.
Thank you very much for coming in. Appreciate it. I need to take that back from you.
Well, I was handing it all to you. You can have it all.
Thank you.
All right. My whole set.
You are.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Have a good night.
Sure.
And just to be clear, the private roads exhibit and the statute were not moved in full.
We are moving them in full. Yes, the road list was moved in at a prior hearing.
Okay.
With District's Exhibit 1. Again, subject to the objection that council has lodged a number of times now.
Understood.
So we can go back to the record. It was admitted they been
Okay.
with specific caveats, and I don't think we need to re-argue that now. If it's being moved as a full exhibit instead of the bene, and if it's being moved without substantive caveats, then this witness gave absolutely no evidence to support the foundation for that document. In addition to that, gave new evidence that she's a person that can provide a foundation document. They literally stumbled across this just looking for documents, so. No, if that's what's going on, I'm not even sure that's what's happening, but if it's being moved now as a full exhibit, yes, we object.
Okay, understood, and the statute,
We don't need to move the statute in.
okay.
It speaks for itself.
Thank you. Maybe call our next witness.
Yes.
The town close to Jean Armstrong Acosta.
Evening, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm going to swear you in before you begin. So would you please raise the right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state and spell your name for the record.
My name is Jean Circosta, Jeanne. Armstrong, Armstrong, Circosta, Circosta.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Acosta, thank you for being here this evening.
You're welcome.
You know that I am William Conley, I represent the town of Westerly, right? You have to answer yes or no. For
Oh,
this
yes.
tonight. In this particular proceeding, you attended a deposition, right?
Yes,
And you met Mr. Farside then, right?
yes,
You didn't meet me because I wasn't there, right?
right,
We met remotely not too long ago,
yes,
and when we met remotely, we talked to you about this matter and in preparation for your testimony this evening, correct?
correct, yes.
Where do you live?
I live in Sunapee, New Hampshire.
And did you drive down here to Westerly, Rhode Island from Sunapee, New Hampshire to testify in this matter this evening?
Yes,
And you work?
no, I'm retired.
Yeah, I'm just gonna speak. Microphone.
And how long have you been retired?
Been retired since 2019.
And before you retired in 2019, what did you do?
I worked with special education students at Sunapee High School.
Forgive me for asking, but how old are you?
I'm 72.
I'm going to fast forward to some questions that we'll get right to the matters that the people are here tonight to talk about, okay?
Fine.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in West Hartford, Connecticut, and we had a summer house in Weekapaug, Rhode Island.
And so you had a summer house, is that a family summer house?
Yes,
And when during that time that you were growing up in West Hartford, when did you have occasion to go to Westerly and specifically Weekapaug?
we went, the house was built in 1954, the year that I was born, and we went every April, May, June, April through September until Well, actually, we rented the house in August every year. And then we rented the house in July and August, starting in 1967.
And did I understand you to say that, your family went there between 1954 and what year?
Can you rephrase that? Because-
Sure. Well, you told us you were born in 1954, right?
Yes, and that was when the house was built.
Right, and so I'm not gonna ask you to remember anything when you were going, when your family was going there in 54.
Yeah.
But for how long did, you and or your family go to Weekapaug, to that summer house? How many years? Call when?
Until it was sold, you mean?
Yeah,
Oh, 1987. Or 88. Long time.
now during that whole time period, okay, just general within that time period. Who would you go to the summer house with?
I would go with my family, my parents, and my two sisters.
And can you tell us the names of your family that you would go there with?
My father's name was Malcolm Armstrong. My mother's name was Lelia Armstrong. My older sister was Carol. My next sister was Lauren. And I was the youngest. And I'm Jean.
Where in Weekapaug was the summer house? Of what street was it
It
on?
was on Knowles Avenue.
During that time that you're describing to us when you go there with your family and your sisters, did you have any other family who also had a home in Weekapaug?
My aunt had a home in Weekapaug as well, and she was right next door to us.
On Knowles?
She was on the corner of Knowles and Noyes Neck. Her driveway was on Noyes Neck.
Now, you just explained to us is, talking about when your family would use a summer house, that there was a period of time typically where you went and then a time during the year you'd stop going, and I guess sometimes during the year the house was rented. Could you just refresh my memory on what you said about that?
So the house was rented in August. No, sorry, it was rented in July every year. Until, so that they would, pay for the taxes or whatever they did.
Yeah.
And then in 67, they rented it in both July and August. Because my older sister went to college.
Now, typically, when did you start using the summer house for the season?
April 1st.
And typically, when would you stop using the summer house in the season?
End of September.
So even on those occasions when you would, when your older sister went to college and your family decided to rent the house in July and August, would you get back to you meaning your family, you and your family, would you get back to the house, for, say Labor Day,
After Labor Day.
after Labor Day?
That's when we got the house back.
And so after Labor Day, when you get the house back, how much longer would you have used it that season?
Probably 3 weeks. I don't remember going there in October, but it wasn't winterized, the house.
Okay. So when you talk about, going there as early as April, and you were growing up and living in West Hartford, did you go to the house on weekends? Did you go to the house, or how would you use the house during that time?
Would go on school vacations and would go every weekend.
So when you would go there with your family, and you described, I think, you said it was through you used it through in one way or another, I'll ask you some question about that, through 1987. Did a time come for you when, like your older sister, you went away to college?
Yes,
Do you recall when that was?
72, September.
And when you went away to college, did you still have occasion to come back and use the summer house a week?
Yes,
And when would you do that?
I would do it in October. And I would do it I remember one year doing it at the end of March. But April vacation, I mean, yeah, college got out, we would be there in June. Of course, I was probably working, but I would go there whenever I could.
Okay. How about after college? You said you'd go there whenever you could. How about after college? Could you still go there?
Yes, got married. And we would go there, and he was a teacher, so we would do the same thing. We'd go down there on every vacation, every long weekend. And my parents got divorced. And my father kept that house. So we would go down. And so he lived there, we would go down in the summer sometimes then, but.
So after you get married, you had occasion to use it as you just described.
Right,
Were you already living in New Hampshire at that point?
yes,
Down from New Hampshire.
yeah.
We have 3-day Memorial Day weekend coming up in just a few days. Was that a time when that Memorial Day weekend, was that a time that you would often go to the summer house in Weekapaug?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yes,
You mentioned that your husband was a teacher, and there is typically a April vacation. Do New Hampshire have that typical April
Yes.
vacation?
yes. We would go there then.
Okay, you go down to the summer house then
Yeah.
too?
And often the weather was different.
What way?
I remember one time we went and we got 6 inches of snow in New Hampshire, but we missed it. By the time we got back, it was melted.
So there wasn't any snow in Weekapaug, the snow was in New Hampshire. Um, So you told us that you essentially would go to the summer house quite often, as you've described it to us, through 1987. What happened in 1987 that changed that practice?
My father sold the house.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about when you were growing up, going to the summer house with your sisters, and did you have occasion to go to nearby beaches when you and your sisters were going to the summer house?
Yeah, we'd go to the Weekapaug beaches, yeah.
Okay. So you used the term Weekapaug beaches, so there's more than one.
Yes.
And what were those beaches?
The Fenway Beach and the Inn Beach.
And when you identify a beach as the Fenway Beach, or identify a beach as the Inn Beach, can you describe us and can you describe what the differences were for us so we know which beaches you're talking
They
about?
were very different from each other. One of the beach, the Fenway Beach had waves that rolled in, jetty, smaller. And the in beach was long and wide, and the old people went to the in beach more than than we did, but
So the Fenway Beach was more exciting.
I guess, but when I was really little, we'd ride bikes all over the place, so we'd always end up at both beaches in the same day.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask you some questions about the in beach that you described to us. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. Did you need to show a pass or a button to get on the in beach?
In July and August you did.
And outside of that, was there a time period when you didn't need to display a button to use the in beach?
The rest of the year you didn't need a button. Or a car pass.
How did you, your sisters, your friends, your family, whoever that you were with, how'd you get on the in beach? How'd you access the in beach?
On the board, there was a boardwalk right across from the bathhouses. That's how we would access the beach. Unless we went from the Seeds house, which is right there too. And my parents were friends with the Seeds and would often go, they had a little path, walk, rocks right down there. We'd go that way sometimes because we would ride our bikes and cut through lawns and
Do kid stuff.
yeah.
Right. When you say the Seeds house, do you know how that, can you spell that for them?
SEED.
Okay, thank you. What is the boardwalk that you mentioned a moment ago? What did that look like?
It was boards. You could get splinters. It rose up a little bit in the beginning and then it flattened out. And at the end, there was a wider part where everybody took their shoes off and left them there. There were shoes.
And that ran from what? From where did it start and where did it go to at the?
It started at the bathhouses, that road, where the road is. And it ended at the in beach,
The sand of the in beach.
the sand of the in beach.
Okay. Now, do you, by buying through that use with your family, did you have any idea of who owned or who operated that boardwalk, for instance?
Yeah, I think I knew that the Weekapaug Fire District might have hired people to work there, and I think there was usually a cop. And then there was, well, of course, this is July and August, so I'm really talking about August. There was somebody there. You had to have a pass on your car. Sometimes we would park before that. Or if we went beyond the bathhouse and toward the yacht club. Sometimes you had to park there because it was crowded. You couldn't get a space. There are not that many spaces in the first part. Depends.
Okay. And when you were using your hands to describe it, and I can picture that in my mind's eye, but you said before there, can you explain to the?
Before the boardwalk and the bathhouses, which were directly across from the boardwalk.
You said something about it was your understanding that the Weekapaug Fire District hired people was that security? Was it guards? What did you
Yeah.
mean when you said that?
Yes, they had security guards. Yeah,
At the boardwalk?
yeah. That was later, I think. No, I don't think,
That's what you can explain. When you say later,
that was
Thinking
later as I got older.
yeah,
I don't remember, of course, I was there off season. too. Riding my bikes around, going to the beach and stuff, so Memorial Day is when everything happens.
Have everything happened? You mean the,
Everything opens up, you know, we still didn't need those beach buttons in June though.
Okay.
So
when did you start to need the beach buttons?
not until July,
All right.
you know. Those 2 months, July and August, it was like,
So just so to get a picture in our mind's eye, you lived on Knowles, right?
yes.
You were riding your bikes around. How did you get from Knowles to the boardwalk? What was it?
Anyways,
In many ways, okay.
a lot of ways.
Your answer.
We would cut through a lot of lawns and go down paths. And
Yeah.
go through the Weekpog Inn or go by the chapel or go the normal way on Noise Neck or whatever, you know, that area is that people park and look out. Many, many ways.
So when you talk about the many ways, that activity, as you described it to us, did that sort of continue for you all the way up until, say, the 72 when you went to college?
Yes, it continued when I was married
Yeah.
as well, because we'd bring our bikes down there and do the same thing
Great.
as adults.
So to get on the M beach, you told me that you would take the boardwalk, is that
Yes,
okay? Besides the boardwalk that you took, with or without your bike, was there any other way to access the M beach that you're aware of?
there was a path. There was a path that the fishermen used.
Now, you've described where the boardwalk is to us, so we have that located. Can you use the boardwalk as a point of reference for where the path was? But during that time that you.
Yes, if you're standing looking toward the ocean. The fisherman's path was to the right. There was no trees back then. It was all seagrass. You could see everything, you know, it was all open. And the Wheaton house, the Wheatons lived next to the Seeds. The Wheaton house was a little house back then. It was before their lawn. There was no fence between the Wheaton house and the seagrass. So the fishermen would come and they would, you know, park in the beginning before the boardwalk. And they would have trucks and they would get all their stuff out and walk to the in beach on that path and set up their fishing stuff.
Okay, so I'm just gonna ask you a couple of questions about what you just described. So you said you used as a point of reference the Wheaton house, right?
Yes,
And for the record, is that WHEATON?
yes,
Okay. And you said it was a smaller house then.
yes.
What did it look like back then?
It looked like a cottage. It looked like, because the Seed house is right next to that. I actually drove by there today.
Yeah.
And the Seed house was big compared to the Wheaton house. It was big.
Yeah.
And now it's complete opposite. So it was, you know, it was dark brown. It was might have been a gambrel. It was nothing, you know, nothing special.
Okay. And when you say it's a gambrel, what does gambrel mean?
Gambrel's a roof type, like a barn.
Okay, thank you. And where was the fisherman's path in regard to the Wheaton house that you just described for us?
It was in the seagrass before the lawn of the Wheaton house.
Now, you shared with us that the fishermen would arrive in in their trucks. Remember describing that to me a moment ago?
Yes,
So these are, you're telling us about things that you personally saw, right?
yes.
And over what period of time would you be making those observations in terms of years?
Well, from 64, I would guess, I would have been in fourth grade, riding my bike around until I don't know. I mean, they were sort of always there. I'm sure I saw them also after I was out of college, I could go there. I mean, it was just because I was there off season.
So do I understand from your testimony then that you, from 1964, when you were about 10 years old?
Yeah.
I wish I could remember that well. From about 10 years old, all the way until ultimately to 87, you would have occasion to see the fisherman's path used.
Objection,
I-
that's a leading question.
I would have occasion to see the fishermen parked in their place and know that they were fishermen and know what they were doing.
Okay.
The time of day that I was there, later would have been different than the time I was there when I was a kid.
So you described that you saw the fishermen park their trucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess a couple of different locations, maybe you said one.
No, it was just on that right side parking lot before the boardwalk. They weren't down anywhere else.
Okay.
Unless they went through and
Yeah.
they could have gone down the sand trail.
And did you have occasion when they parked their trucks and they exited their trucks, did you have occasion to see them actually use that fisherman's path that you described?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And I saw it from the beach too. When I was on the beach with my friend, we would see them coming.
And them as the fishermen.
Yeah,
And you see them coming, how did you see them coming?
well, because the path and the boardwalk aren't that far apart. And you could see them coming because it was all seagrass. You could see them coming right through or leaving or.
And so do I understand that you're telling me that you saw them enter that fisherman's path from the parking side where they had their trucks?
Yeah.
And did they, do I understand you telling me you watched them use that path to get right on the beach?
Yes,
You saw them from the boardwalk side, you saw them when you were on the beach. Is that
Yes.
correct?
yes. And it was much flatter then. Because I went there today.
Yeah.
And it was much flatter. There was more beach. The beach was wider, all that sand has come in and made it more hilly. So it was flatter.
Okay. Now, whether from the boardwalk or while on the beach, did you also have occasion to see the fishermen leave the beach
Yes,
and go to their trucks?
yes.
And how would they, what path would they follow to leave the beach and get to their trucks?
Same fisherman's path, that's what we call it. They were never on the boardwalk path.
So do I also understand from your testimony that you, with your family, you would have occasion with your family to, besides using your bike to drive to the beach and use the parking lot there, is that?
Yes,
And when you were at the parking lot, and facing south,
yes.
what would you see? What would be your view at the parking lot when you were facing south?
Seagrass.
Now, as you saw this area that you described to us, the parking lot, the beach, the seagrass, the fishermen's path. Did you ever see a fence anywhere with regard to that fisherman's path in that area?
No, I don't remember a fence. I remember a fence later on, but it wasn't there. It was between the seagrass and the actual sand of the beach. So, like a snow fence kind of thing.
Right, and when you use the term snow fence, can you describe that to the?
It's made of wooden slats. Flat slats next to each other and held together by wire. And not completely. You could see through it a little bit because.
Okay.
But-
And you said, if I understand your testimony correctly, that you said it was between the seagrass and the beach?
Yes. So it was you'd be on the beach and it would be at the seagrass.
Okay. And I want to focus a little bit on that time period that you told us you used it to the 60s up to the 70s. I'm going to focus on that time period. Did you ever see a chain link fence there? No?
No.
And even with the snow fence you described it, that in any way impede access on the fisherman's path?
No.
So over that time period that you described to us, I'm going to focus on the 60s and 70s, if I may. How regularly would you see a fisherman using fisherman's path to access the beach and to leave the beach?
Pretty regularly. Like I was there on the weekends, would see him both days. On those weekends between 64 and 72, like you said. Yeah, they were there. They were fishing. They were getting food for their families.
So as you observe these fishermen, can you tell us what they look like? What were they wearing? Do they have gear? What was going on with them?
I think they had overall kind of things on. I think some of them had high boots because they might step in the water even. Because some of those lines were like fixed out into the water. If they were old, they'd have gray hair, maybe a beard,
Yeah.
They just look like they didn't look like Weekapaug people. We knew they weren't Weekapaug people.
So, you were, needless to say then, you had plenty of opportunity to make these observations so that you could see that kind of detail in terms of their gear and what they looked at, right?
Objection leading.
Oh, yes.
What about, well, let me ask this question. When you saw the fishermen get on the beach, did you have a chance to watch them actually fish?
Yes.
What was the fishing procedure like?
Well, it was ocean fly fishing, I think. Sometimes we would even look in their buckets and see what they were getting. I don't remember talking to them.
But then you look in their buckets?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were kids.
Good.
Today you wouldn't be talking to fishermen. But
How about boats? You ever see anybody fishing from boats over there?
I don't recall that.
Okay. How about the fishermen using the parking lot as you described first? Because you talked a little bit about there was but in a car pass, I think you referenced. Were there any issues with the fishermen parking where they park with their trucks at all?
It wasn't like a lot of trucks. It wasn't like filling up the whole space. It might have been one or two, maybe three, but it wasn't like busy.
Just some more, please.
Huh?
So I know I asked you to sort of focus on that time period in the sixties and seventies. Thank you for describing what you saw with the fisherman's path during that time period. Now, how about after that? Talked about, you went to college, you came back. Did you have occasion? So put this in that 70s to 87 time period. Did you ever have occasion to see fisherman's path being used during those days?
Not as much.
And when you say not as much, can you tell us what you mean by that?
Well, I was older. We didn't get up at the crack of dawn to go to In Beach.
Yeah.
So I don't recall seeing a lot of that then. I must have seen some, but can't really put my finger on it.
Okay. When you say you must have seen some, what do you mean by that?
That things didn't change that much, that, people are gonna stop fishing and I don't think I was as observant as I was as a child. Cause there's other things going on. You got a husband, so I was quite observant as a kid.
Okay. Thank you very much for the questions I missed.
All right. Let's take a short recess. Yeah, I think this is a short recess. I'm freezing. I gotta go try and get a cold. So I think about,
And someone was there on the boardwalk to check beach buttons from July 1st through the end of August, correct?
The people at the beginning of the boardwalk would check the car passes so you could park there. The lifeguards checked the beach buttons.
And the guards were not present generally after 5 or 6 o'clock, correct?
Correct.
But the so-called fisherman's path would have been within view of the guard that was checking for, you claim today, parking passes, depending on the number of parked cars, correct?
The guard would check your pass if you passed him on that boardwalk. The section of where the fishermen would park. And sometimes we would park as well. They didn't walk there and see your pass because you didn't pass them. They didn't come out of the house and go look at your pass unless they did that when we were already on the beach.
So at your October 30th, 2023 deposition at page 83 of the transcript, you were asked, so if a member of the public in June wanted to use the boardwalk to go down to In Beach, was there somebody there checking for buttons? Answer, yes, but it wasn't until July 1st that you needed to have those buttons. It was July 1st through the end of August.
Right. So there wasn't anybody there before July 1st.
And the person who was there would have been able to see the so-called fisherman's path from where they were stationed, correct?
Correct.
And you remember wearing beach buttons as young as 4 or 5, correct?
Yes.
Now, you were told to stay off the land that constitutes Spring Avenue Extension because of ticks in the seagrass, correct?
Correct.
And there was poison ivy in it too, correct?
Correct.
And you said the seagrass was up to 18 inches high, correct?
Correct.
Now, you have no recollection of a chain link fence crossing the fisherman's path.
No.
But you remember there being a gap between 2 different fences you thought people could use to get onto the beach, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And what did those fences look like?
They were snow fences. They were put there to hold in the seagrass.
And when looking at the parcel that we call Spring Avenue Extension from the road, you couldn't see the ocean because there was a big sand dune with grass on it, correct?
Correct.
And you never saw a car or bike or any wheeled vehicle on Spring Avenue Extension, correct?
I mean, in the sand on that path, the fisherman's path?
Anywhere on the parcel that we call Spring Avenue Extension, including what you call the fisherman's path.
A bike? No. Can't bike in the sand. Through the ticks?
And there were no signs indicating there was a path there to be used by fishermen or anyone else, correct?
No sign, no sign.
But there were signs around that area saying that In Beach was a private beach between the 1960s and 1980s, correct?
Yes.
And there were signs that said, quote, keep out in Weekapaug around that area near the Weekapaug Inn and the In Beach, correct?
What years are we talking about?
Any years.
Well, they weren't there in the 60s.
So no keep out signs in the 1960s.
No,
What about the 1970s?
I don't think so.
What about the 1980s?
Maybe.
At your November 6, 2023 deposition transcript at page 163 and 164, you were asked, when during your time at Weekapaug do you ever remember ignoring a quote, keep out sign? Your answer was yes. The question was, how many times do you think that happened? The answer was many times. Question was, and that was in the context of, riding your bike around Weekapaug? Answer, yes. That happened probably more than a dozen times, question mark? Yes. And more than 50 times, question mark? Yes.
Keep out.
Correct,
Where are these signs?
in Weekapaug.
Where though?
Anywhere in
over?
Weekapaug.
Oh, well. Okay.
So yes, you did see keep out signs in Weekapaug.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about keep out signs on the seagrass at the beach.
Not specifically, no.
Yeah, no, oh, sure. Keep out signs, oh, yeah, sure. People's driveways and stuff, homes,
Driveways and homes have keep out signs,
some of them do.
and they did when you were a kid?
No. I didn't see them when I was a kid. It was more in the seventies and eighties, late seventies, eighties. Keep out signs, sure.
So in the seventies and eighties, you would have been a teenager, correct? Teenager in twenties?
I graduated from high school in 72.
Okay, so in the seventies, you were riding your bike around Weekapaug ignoring keep out signs?
I was cutting through lawns. So I probably saw keep out signs.
That you ignored, correct?
Yes,
Now, you never personally walked on the piece of land that you're calling the Fisherman's Path, correct?
no. Or yes. Yes, you're correct.
Thank you. Correct that you never walked on it.
Yes.
But you sometimes trespassed over other people's property specifically to access the beach, correct?
No, I didn't need to. You go on the boardwalk or you go through the Seeds house. There's no other way to get to that beach. The rest of the houses aren't on the beach, they're on the rocks.
Your October 6th, your October 30th, 2023 deposition transcript, page 17, you were asked, how did you get to In Beach? Answer, oh, many ways. Please tell me. On a bike or walking or, and I said, let's take bike. Your answer was Noise Neck Road around Ninigret to get to the In Beach or down Knowles Avenue
Excuse me.
extension.
Could you slow down?
I'm so sorry. Yes, absolutely. Noise Neck Road around Ninigret to get to the In Beach or down Knowles Avenue extension. Take a right on Meadow, take a left on, and I can't remember the name of that road, but goes right up to the chapel and then take a right and get to the In Beach. Sometimes we used to ride our bikes through people's property because there were a lot of paths in Weekapaug.
Yes,
That's accurate, correct?
yes. But you said Ninigret Road, Ninigret, is that now Spray Rock Road?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Now, you never fished from the shore in or around Weekapaug Point, correct?
Correct.
And you testified earlier about the frequency with which you saw fishermen. You remember that? Now, you testified at your depositions that you usually saw about 15 or so fishermen per year, per season, meaning spring through September from approximately 1963 to 1972. Do you remember that?
Yes,
And is that your testimony today then, that over the course of a season that you were visiting Weekapaug, so you said earlier from April 1st through the end of September, except for the months of July and August when the house was rented, you would have observed a grand total of about 15 fishermen during that entire stretch of time, correct?
at least, yeah, sure.
Now, you would not have seen any fishermen in this location during the month of July, correct? Because the house was always rented during that month.
Correct.
And for several months of August, you also would not have seen fishermen at this location because the house was rented, correct?
Correct.
Now, when you saw fishermen at the In Beach, you usually saw them only early in the morning, correct?
Or in the late afternoon.
but not in the middle of the day, correct?
No,
And from 1967 and forward, you were never at the beach during the months of July and August because the house was fully rented during both of those months, correct?
correct.
So during those times, you could not observe fishermen at this location during July and August, correct?
Correct. I'm not there. I can't see them.
And you didn't know that fishermen were allowed full access to the in-beach in the off-season until your deposition, correct?
Correct. Wait. Say it again.
You did not know that fishermen were allowed full access to the in-beach in the off-season until your deposition in 2023, correct?
Objection.
I'll withdraw it. You never saw a fisherman fishing at the in-beach confronted by a Weekapaug person or a person with a beach button asking them to leave, correct?
Correct.
You never saw a fisherman use the boardwalk, correct?
Correct.
And there was no path visible on Spring Avenue extension from the street on what was then Minnegrad Ave, correct?
Correct. We talked about that before because there's a hill, a little bit of a hill, a dune.
Now, you don't remember your parents speaking with the fisherman either, correct?
Correct.
And you can't recall sitting here today that the fishermen you saw were different fishermen each time or the same fishermen each time, correct?
Oh, they would have been different fishermen. I couldn't. I mean, maybe they were the same fishermen. But they were different trucks. I would notice the trucks.
Now, you can't recall having ever seen a fisherman on the in-beach at the same time a lifeguard was on duty, correct?
Objection.
Go ahead, Mr. Conley.
We don't even know when the lifeguards were on duty. I mean, I don't know what the interplay between when the lifeguards are on duty and when the fishermen are using Fisherman's Path is. I don't think there's any relationship in it. We're gonna do that, then let's have a record of what the duty hours and days were of the lifeguards from the fire district who employed them to act as a foundation for that question. We've got just a lot of questions that just come out of, right field without any foundation for them at all. You gotta be putting the lineup before you can start throwing stuff in from right field.
Mr. Farside, if you could try to build more foundation for that.
Do you recall the hours during which lifeguards were on duty when you were a kid in Weekapaug?
Yes,
What hours were those?
10 to 5.
Thank you. Now, you recall having seen a fisherman fishing on the beach during the hours when a lifeguard was on duty?
No, because the fishermen fish early. The fish are gone by 10 o'clock in the morning.
So the occasions you had to look in their buckets, you had to be on the beach either early in the morning or later in the evening, correct?
Correct.
The fishermen you recalled seeing fishing were a distance away, your words, from where people were swimming, correct? They weren't fishing next to where bathers were.
Correct.
Now, sitting here today, you don't know any individual besides yourself who claims to see the fisherman using a path in the location you identified as the fisherman's path. Do I have that correct?
I don't know anyone that saw that. Is that what you're asking me?
Correct.
Oh, I do know someone that saw that, but my friend that I was doing it with.
Have you spoken to her about this?
No.
You said previously that you thought people near Spring Avenue Extension were fishermen because of their boots and clothing, correct?
Correct,
And because of the cars they drove, like older pickup trucks, correct?
correct,
And that you thought Weekopoggers were wealthy enough to own boats and go out and fish in the open ocean, correct?
correct.
But you couldn't tell if those fishermen you saw were Weekopoggers or renting property in Weekapog, could you?
Yes, I could tell.
You just somehow knew they were not Weekapog men?
Yes.
Now, there could be withdrawn. There's really no way for you to know with all the people who visited Weekapog during the summer who was allowed to be where they were because they rented or owned property in Weekapog, correct?
Rephrase it, please.
Sitting here today, there's no way for you to know whether any fishermen you saw had permission to be where they were because they owned or rented property in Weekapog, correct?
Permission from whom?
From anybody.
People didn't need permission to do that back then. They just did it. People fish.
Just ask for a short moment to confirm.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Costa, I'm almost finished. The times that you were at your family's Weekapog home were predominantly in April, the months of April, May, June, September. Would you agree with that?
And August until 67, yes.
Okay. And during the months of April, May, June, and September, who could go on and come off the beach was not regulated by the fire district or anybody, correct?
Correct.
So if you wanted to go for a walk on the beach, you could do that, correct?
Correct.
You wanted to go fish on the beach at any point in time, you could do that as well, correct?
Correct.
And the times when you saw fishermen were scattered throughout those months of April, May, June, and September. Do I have that right?
Yes.
Okay. I have nothing further at this time. Thank you very much.
Redirect?
May I have a moment, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Costa, do you recall just a few moments ago being asked some questions about meeting with Mike Rubin, talking to him about this matter before your depositions? Or before that, had you ever heard of something called a Spring Avenue extension?
No.
And you've referred to this, the path that we've been calling the Spring Avenue extension as Fisherman's Path, right?
Yes.
Is that because you saw fishermen using the path? Okay, thank you. Nothing further.
I didn't even realize that Spring Avenue Extension was the fisherman's path until you said that.
There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Costa. You're all set.
I'm done?
You're done. You didn't have any more questions, right? Joe?
Have a moment, please.
Yes.
Thank you. Hard to get really much like an idea of what's happening now.
I believe the proponents are just taking a brief moment to review their next steps.
Thank you.
It's so much more. As short as I want to be, it's kind of duration of a memo. So we have the same timeline, right? Where we have to, I want to go in the order, respond. So we can, I think maybe. Like, do not respond to the line. Yeah.
If I may, by way of explanation as to our next witness, because we're going a little bit out of sequence, so I may explain that to the committee. We meaning the town had originally planned to present two fact witnesses this evening.
Look, what witnesses?
Two fact.
Oh, fact.
Fact witnesses, excuse me.
Yeah.
And the fighter signals, so they are, we had originally identified them. And then unfortunately, when we picked this date, neither one of them, both were on separate people, but on vacation at the same time in separate places. So they're not available. But in the interest of saving time and still making progress, we'd like to at least begin a portion of the testimony of our expert witness, of what another expert witness that the town is calling. And by way of explanation, what I'd like to do is at least lay the foundation for the expertise. But at least some of the ultimate expert opinion may rely on the testimony of those two fact witnesses, which are not in the record yet. So I don't want to go into that. I don't want to have foundation issues and evidentiary, but in the interest of saving time, I'd ask that we be able to, present our potential expert witness, at least to lay the foundation for the expertise, so that we can keep this going and get as much done as we can. But I'm going to stop at that point because not all the information that I'm going to have to testify on is in the record yet.
Okay, and at the next hearing, would you have the
Both fact witnesses will be
two
available.
fact witnesses and then you'd call your expert back
Yeah.
up after them? That's fine.
That would be the plan if I may.
Okay. I'm good with that.
Just for the record, this is the first we're hearing that our understanding coming here tonight was that Mr. Shea was going to begin his testimony and that there was nothing impeding that. We did not know about two fact witnesses or any other wrinkles. That said, we have the facility until 9 o'clock and the fire district's present. So we have no objection to starting the expert testimony of Mr. Shea for the sake of everybody involved.
Thank you. On the west, the price that just did. Yes, that's one.
Let's try to close.
Can we swear the witness?
Yes. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Will you please state and spell your name for the record?
My name is Justin T. Shea, Justin, T for Timothy, and Shea, Shay.
Thank you, John Shea.
Thank you, Mr. Shea. You're a Rhode Island attorney admitted to the bar of the state of Rhode Island.
I am.
And where did you grow up?
My hometown is Yonkers, New York.
And do you have any connection to Westerly, Rhode Island besides being a Rhode Island attorney?
I do.
And what is that, sir?
My mother's family began coming to Westerly, Rhode Island for vacation and recreational purposes about 1920.
Say 1920?
1920.
Okay. So that was before the famous hurricane of 1938.
That's correct.
Was your family who was coming to Weekapaug as early as 1920, but were they impacted by the hurricane of 1938 in any way?
Yes, but they did not reside in Weekapaug. They had a house on the Pawcatuck River below where the yacht club is located today.
Where the yacht club is located today?
Yeah, the Westerly Yacht Club.
Yeah. Is there any other family history, for instance, related to the hurricane of 38?
Yes, there is.
And where's that?
My mother was playing golf with two of her friends that morning when the hurricane struck. Of course, they had no warning. The conditions became very bad, but they still had no idea that it was a hurricane that was coming. So they went back to one of her friends' summer homes on Napatry Point on the Fort Road in Watch Hill. It was the side warehouse, about 3 houses going out on the Fort Road. As they were there, the conditions worsened, and they began to realize that this was not an ordinary line storm, is what they used to call them. Traditionally came up the coast in September. After the waves started breaking out over the top of the house, and then began to see other homes on the point starting to get washed away, they decided they had to make an escape. So my mother and one friend, Violet Cottrell, went out back door, and the stairs that they were on got swept away. They got carried into the water, and eventually found a piece of wreckage, a piece of roof, and rode that all the way across to Stonington, Connecticut, what they call, at least at that time, Osprey Point. The owner of the house was there with her little daughter and the daughter's nurse, like a babysitter or au pair. They got separated from them, but they also survived and made it across Little Narragansett Bay to Stonington, Connecticut. All 5 of them in that house, including my mother, survived. Despite the incredible carnage and wreckage that was surrounding them.
That's absolutely nothing to do with this, but it's an absolutely fascinating story. So thank you for sharing.
You can read about it in the books if you want.
That's right, it is in the books, right? Yeah, yeah. Tell us a little bit about the practice of law. I'm gonna ask you some more relevant questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Start with your education. What's your education, Mr. Shea?
I'm a graduate of Mount St. Michael Academy in the Bronx, New York. I attended Providence College. I graduated in 1978, and I'm a graduate of the New York Law School in the class of 1982.
And when did you become a member of the Rhode Island Bar?
I became a member of the Rhode Island Bar in October 1982.
And how did it come to be that you chose to become a member of the Rhode Island Bar in 1982?
My soon-to-be wife had no intention of living in New York. She was a Rhode Islander, and having grown up in Rhode Island myself as well, I wanted to come back.
Okay. Now, well, we all know as members of the Rhode Island Bar, our Supreme Court doesn't allow us to essentially engage in specializations. Nevertheless, there are areas in the practice of law. And what area of practice do you engage in as an attorney?
At these days, in a general sense, litigation, and that would concentrate in business type litigation, including insolvency, but also real estate title litigation.
Said real estate title litigation and land use?
Yes.
Thank you. Have you published any professional articles?
I have not published professional articles as such, but I have given a number of seminars over the years. I believe approximately 25 that involved production of written materials and distribution of those to those attending the seminars.
Mrs. Shea, I've just handed you documents. You've tell the committee what that document is.
This is a list of seminars and lectures that I have delivered over the years, starting in 2003. Most of them have to do with real estate title issues and real estate title litigation issues. And I presented these to real estate professionals, surveyors, but mostly to Rhode Island attorneys.
And this is a document that you created to identify all these many times that you have presented these seminars and these lectures beginning in February 20th of 2003 through March 3rd of 2023?
That's correct. I believe I originally prepared this for a title insurance company, which was interested in my services.
Okay.
A number of years back, and I just kept it up as I did more seminars.
Yeah, thank you. And as we look at, I'm not going to ask you to identify every seminar and lecture that you've delivered, but as you look at these 2 pages, the vast majority of them, address, title and related land use issues, is that correct?
Yeah, that's fair to say, yes.
I'd ask that this be, admitted as a full exhibit, please.
You don't have an objection.
Admitted in full.
Mr. Shea, have you ever been, qualified as an expert witness before this evening?
Yes, I have.
And in what areas have you been qualified as an expert witness, Mr. Shea?
I've been qualified as an expert witness on numerous occasions on the issues of the reasonableness of attorney's fees in Rhode Island. But I've also been qualified as a real estate expert in the Superior Court.
And that would be the Rhode Island Superior Court?
Correct.
And when you've been qualified as an expert witness in Rhode Island Superior Court, what was the expert qualification?
In the topic?
Yes, sir.
I believe it was a case in the Washington County Superior Court about I believe it was a school bus entering a driveway and then crossing another parcel of property and returning to the main road. And I believe it was a prescriptive easement issue.
And what was the well, specifically, what was your expert qualification as?
It's just general real estate expertise in Rhode Island law.
Thank you. Besides the Rhode Island Superior Court, have you had other occasions to qualify as an expert?
Well, my qualification in the court there was it went up to the Supreme Court. They did not disturb the qualification today there. I have been retained by the state of Rhode Island as an expert. I have been retained by a number of municipalities as an expert, and I have been retained by a major Rhode Island and now Massachusetts law firm as an expert in this regard.
In this regard, meaning in real estate.
In real estate.
Okay. In addition to your education that you shared with us from college and law school, what type of employment did you have before becoming a member of the Rhode Island Bar?
Before I became a member of, actually before I attended law school, I returned back to my home in Yonkers, New York, after completing Providence College, and I worked for a year on Wall Street.
How the heck was that? What was it like to work on Wall Street?
Objection, relevance.
Okay, I'll withdraw it.
I went to law school.
Okay, okay. And during the course of your career, have you had the opportunity to represent a broad range of clients and broad range of real estate related issues?
I have.
Mr. Chair, I've shown you a document. Can you identify for the subcommittee?
Yes, these are, this is a list of cases that I prepared with respect to cases that can be found in our system. Not all of them are officially reported. Some of the Superior Court cases which do not get an official reporting. But these are a number of cases that I have listed that go back to 1984. And these can be found in either the Atlantic Reporter or where we have our Superior Court Westlaw, and there may be some federal court cases on here too. These are strictly the cases that I have that can be found that I have dealt with dealing with real estate issues. I've had many of the cases that dealt with other areas of the law as well.
These are the, as you said, this specifically regarding Rhode Island real estate and title issues.
Correct. And land use too.
And land use, excuse me, thank you. Again, I'm not going to ask you to identify every case and go through all the pages, but for instance, just looking at the first page, number 2, your description of that is access to beach pursuant to easement. Is that accurate description?
That is.
Number 4, McElroy versus Stevens. That says access to beach pursuant to easement. Is that an accurate description?
That is. Yep, that was the Superior Court decision of number 2 you previously read.
Number 5, Martin versus Wilson. You describe that as your qualification as expert on Rhode Island real estate law confirmed by Supreme Court. That would be the Rhode Island Supreme Court?
Yes, that was the one I discussed with you earlier about the bus making one turn. Where there was a prescriptive easement.
Right.
You get a decision.
Number 6, McElroy versus Stevens at 226 8th 3rd 1288. That's also described as an access to beach pursuant to easement. Is that an accurate description?
That is an accurate description.
10, Kilmartin versus Barbuda, 158 8th 3rd 735. That's described as dedication of property to the public by plat. Is that an accurate description?
That is an accurate description, and in fact, it dealt with my own family's beachfront property on Musquamacket Beach. The Attorney General had sought to have part of it declared public property by the nature of the plat that was recorded in 1909.
That was recorded when?
1909.
Number 14, Rhode Island Mobile Sports Fishermen versus Noakes Island Conservation Association, 59 8th 3rd 112. You indicate their easement by prescription / conservation land. Is that an accurate description?
That is an accurate description. That deals with property that's in the vicinity of the real estate at issue in this case. The question there was whether the sand trail, which runs the course of Quanticook Beach, if Rhode Island Mobile Sport Fishermen, who was my client at the time, could access that because of the prescriptive rights that had arisen over the years, not only by them, but those tacking ownership beforehand.
Okay. So, yeah, without going through all the cases that appear here, have you ever had an opportunity to work on a case with a statutory dedication issue?
I have worked on a number of road dedication issues. They're not necessarily listed here, I don't believe, but I had some of them settled, went away. But I don't believe any of these listed here are road dedication issues. But the answer is yes. I've had the opportunity on numerous occasions over the years.
you mentioned that, in regard to, the exhibit regarding seminars and lectures delivered, that you had originally prepared that, regard to, for presentation to title insurance company.
That's my recollection, yeah.
Good, okay. For the record, can you just describe to the subcommittee and everyone here what a title insurance company is?
Yes, a title insurance company is exactly that. It's an insurance company, but rather than insuring against casualty losses or insuring property or covering liability, what the title insurance company does is issues a policy of insurance to ensure the quality of title, in other words, ownership interests or other interests in real estate that is issued to either owners or mortgagees or other interested parties to protect their investment in those properties. It's often and pretty much almost universally required by banks who take mortgages on real estate and lend money for their purchase. They insist that the borrowers purchase for the bank title insurance to cover any potential defects that may show in the future.
So the your expertise that would be relied on in those kinds of instances would relate to your expertise regarding title in real estate.
Correct.
Now, you've also told us that you've used that expertise in regard to these title issues and real estate matters and land use matters in the area of litigation as well.
Correct.
And in those litigation matters, for instance, those litigation matters related to those issues, the real estate, the title, and land use. Have you had occasion, for instance, to rely on title exams?
Oh, yes.
And what's a title exam for the sake of?
A title examination is a review of the documents that are placed on record in Rhode Island, would be in a city hall or a town hall, that reflect the ownership interests and perhaps lesser interests in a particular piece of property. That's usually the starting point for tackling any title issue. The examiner will determine who owns it. Could be, an individual, an entity, or numerous ones. What that ownership interest is subject to. It could be lesser interests such as easements, or it could be mortgages, or liens from other sources. And the title examiner will then prepare a conclusion, usually, that lists what the various interests in the property are. And then any person interested in dealing with the property, whether they're representing a buyer or a seller or facing some sort of a litigation problem, can use that as the start to see what they need to do to get to the next step.
Interesting from where you started with that explanation and where you ended with that explanation, because you essentially said that title certificate is where it begins. And then you ended by saying that is instructive of what next steps are. So when you talk about where does it begin and next steps, what else is involved?
Then you would have to analyze what the different documents are and then come to the conclusion, as we said. But somebody who's dealing with this will also have to apply these documents and those conclusions to applicable law to determine what the legal result is. And with that, certain things may have to be undertaken in order to convey the property, may have to be undertaken in order to defend the case. And because what the title search brings us to is what the state of the law is that affects the ownership or other interest that's at stake.
And as you describe that, does that kind of task then take you beyond just a mere chain of title to other related documents and information regarding that chain of title?
Yes, it may take us to Rhode Island case law. It may take us to Rhode Island statutes. It may take us to local ordinances. And the issues that are recognized have to be analyzed in light of the law in order to come to a conclusion and to deal with the matter.
Now, you have been in attendance at every single one of these hearings that we've held in front of the subcommittee regarding this matter, the Spring Avenue extension, correct?
Correct.
And how did you get involved in this case in the first place?
You gave me a call.
What did I ask you to do?
Would I like to take a look at this and some other issues on behalf of the town?
Okay. And I requested that, or asked you if you were available to serve as an expert regarding the title and related issues in this matter, right?
That's correct.
You did a conflict check to make sure that you could,
Yes,
and you determined that you could after making that conflict check?
I did.
Okay. So based on the exhibits that have presented, education and professional background, I would request that Mr. Shea be qualified as an expert in the field of real estate and title law for the purposes of this hearing.
So it's standard practice for CRMC that we do not qualify experts, but we take their resume, their qualifications that you've presented, and that goes to the weight of their testimony.
I understand, but nevertheless, I wanted to ask.
Absolutely.
Mr. Martin, if I may, so far during this testimony, only one document's been moved into evidence. That's Proponents Exhibit 48. I guess I'd ask counsel if they plan to move this two-page document, representative cases of Justin Shea, Esquire, into evidence, because if so, we have an objection.
So I will move, and I am remiss that I didn't do it at the conclusion. I'll remove and we can hear the objection. I'll move for it to be admitted.
Mr. Farside?
Thank you. So this document was omitted from the expert report we received of Mr. Shea in this matter. We therefore had no ability to examine him at either of his two depositions about it. Further, it contains hearsay insofar as each case that's listed has a annotation put there by somebody. Mr. Conley has already asked about certain cases, and to the extent that Mr. Shea testified live about certain cases, we did not object at that time, but we do object to this entire document going into evidence for the reasons stated.
Mr. Conley, do you have any comments on that?
Sure. It's not hearsay. The witness has testified that he himself made those entries, so it's not hearsay.
Excuse me, Mr.
sec-
Crowley, I'm beeping here. I have to plug in for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I could get away with it.
We're gonna have.
Go for it. Yep, that's perfect. I'll unplug that before you get up. You left it up for sure. It's not hearsay. The witness has testified that he himself made those entries.
And I also acknowledge that I only highlighted certain cases on it. If the committee would prefer that I go through every single one in order to have it admitted, I will do that. I did that really as a matter of efficiency, not to go around any evidentiary foundation questions.
So, response, first, the witness did not testify at this hearing that he made this document. That's not in the record. And secondly, even if he did make it, the statements on here about the cases are still out of court statements and constitute hearsay. If the witness can testify from his memory about what specific cases are about, then he may certainly do so.
I'm prepared to go through them one by one. I just think it's utterly unnecessary, but I'll do it.
I'm afraid the board's gonna be very upset with me, but I think that just to make sure the record's clear, let's go one by one. And then I think what I want to do is we'll hold it till the other side has had an opportunity for cross. So either way, if you want to go through now or do you want to go through later?
I'll go through now. For the purpose of clarity in the record, then can we ID it?
Yes, so we'll have it ID as 49.
Thank you. Do you still have a copy of them, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, I do have.
That's great. Okay, first of all, who prepared this document?
I prepared this document.
Okay, and the words on it describing each individual case, are those your words?
They are.
Okay. Number one, you want to tell us, want to identify that case for us and tell us what that's about?
Yeah, this was a recent case that my partner and I tried before Judge Darrigan. It had to do with several oral agreements among real estate investors and whether certain mortgages that our client held were satisfied by conveyances of real estate, despite the fact there were statute of fraud issues and numerous other issues. We did not prevail on this case. It is now in the Supreme Court.
So this is on appeal?
It's on appeal right now.
Right. Number two, can you tell us about that case?
McElroy versus Stevens. Again, we talked about this earlier. This was access to beach pursuant to easement. I was very honored to represent Michael McElroy, our former president of the Rhode Island Bar Association, in a dispute with neighbors who were blocking off his access to a beach in the beach in which he had deeded rights in Narragansett. He originally prevailed on summary judgment. The case went to Supreme Court. The Supreme Court reversed it and sent it back for trial. We prevailed after trial in front of Justice Taft Carter. It went back up to the Supreme Court and was affirmed by the Supreme Court in 2025.
Great. Number three.
The Dumplings Association versus Coastal Resources Management Council. It involves our honorable board. This has to do with the expansion of the dock on the east side of Jamestown. The case, it's administrative appeal. The matter was the relief requested was granted by the CRMC. It was reversed by Mr. Justice Lanphier, and Coastal Resources and the applicant, the Dumplings Association, is now pending in the Rhode Island Supreme Court.
Okay. Number four.
That's the one I just talked about earlier with Michael McElroy that went up and down several different times, but eventually Mr. McElroy prevailed.
Number 5.
This is not a case that I served as an attorney on. This is where I was qualified by Justice Taft Carter as an expert in real estate law. The Supreme Court did not disturb that finding when it heard the appeal later.
So you say did not disturb that finding. Said another way, as you wrote, that you were confirmed as the expert in that matter by the Supreme Court.
That's how I read it.
Okay. Number 6.
Again, that's the McElroy case, but that's the Superior Court decision, which was upheld by the Rhode Island Supreme Court.
Number 7.
This was a case that involved the University of Rhode Island. The Hellenic Society was going to construct a center there for Greek studies. And at that point, the question was whether under the lease, whether arbitration was proper or not. And the Supreme Court at that one. I'm sorry. There was also an issue of whether the lease was a joint venture agreement. So that one was more of a real estate contract issue than it was a title issue.
Okay, great. Number 8.
We discussed this just a little while ago. This was the case where the bus was going around the driveway, and where I served as an expert in that case, not as a litigant, not as an attorney for a litigant.
Number 9.
Key versus Brown University.
Did you say McKee?
No, Key, just Key.
Why?
Yeah, this was a rather interesting case. Brown University had constructed a women's field hockey field with a goal within feet of my client's rather beautiful home on Stimson Avenue in Providence. And originally the case, we lost on summary judgment. We appealed it to the Rhode Island Supreme Court. I'm happy to say that we made some new law here that was of interest certainly to many of the cities and towns. And that was that although an individual property owner doesn't have the right to enforce zoning regulations under Rhode Island law, they do have the right to use zoning regulations as evidence of nuisance and negligence in an action against somebody's causing them injury. And that's the first time this was been held in Rhode Island law, even though violations of other statutes have often been used as a standard of care in Rhode Island law. But this now is a part of the law of the state of Rhode Island.
Number 10.
This is the case that involved my own piece of property on the Squamicut Beach. Then Attorney General had determined that the manner in which a certain plat was drawn about, I believe it was 1909, made it appear that the beachfront that my family had owned since 1954 had been dedicated to the state of Rhode Island. We tried this case before Mr. Justice Stern. He actually granted judgment as a matter of law to the property owners on the beach. It went to the Supreme Court and that was upheld.
And then number 11 is the Superior Court.
That's the Superior Court decision by Justice Stern.
Great. Number 12.
Sisto versus America Condominium Association. This involved Goat Island, which has seen a certain number of lawsuits over the years for sure. But this involved a gentleman by the name of Benny Sisto expanding his condominium unit and whether it required unanimous consent by all the unit owners. And this I had represented the condominium association with some other attorneys, and we were able to convince the court that it did.
Number 13.
This was a commercial lease situation involving the Lincoln Mall. That involved the cinema that was up there. In fact, I saw that in the Providence Journal that the cinema recently closed just a few months back. But it involved construction of the commercial lease and how taxes should be apportioned between the tenant and the landlord.
Number 14.
Rhode Island Mobile Sport Fishermen versus Nopes Island Conservation Association. In this case, my partner and I represented the Rhode Island Mobile Sports Fishermen who were attempting to access a parcel of land that they had purchased from the Crandall family on Quanticook Beach. There was a separation from the sand trail, between the sand trail and this lot that the association had purchased. And the question was whether there was an easement by prescription to go from the sand trail to that lot. Justice Lanfear ruled in our favor. Nopes Island took an appeal, and the case actually got set back for further trial. And the eventual result of that was that the case was settled by our client purchasing another piece of land that did the right thing. But it was also one of the early times that we had the issue of easement by prescription regarding conservation land, which is involves a statute here in Rhode Island.
Okay. Number 15.
Yeah, Pelletier versus Loriano. This was a question of whether there was an easement or a license. I did not try this case. The case was assigned to me after trial, and so I handled the appeal only, and we prevailed on this, and that the Supreme Court upheld Superior Court's finding that the interest was a license, not an easement.
Number 16.
This is a title insurance company case that had to do with coverage under policy of title insurance. This was at federal court, and I served as local counsel there on that case.
Number 17.
Smithfield Estates versus the heirs of John Hathaway. This is probably one of the strangest cases I have ever worked on in my life. It involved 967 small lots of land in the town of Smithfield, which were given in 1902 to purchasers of tea. If they purchased enough tea, you got this tiny little lot of land, about 20 by 60 feet long. And we had brought the action to try to quiet title to all those very small lots of land. The title work itself took, if I recall correctly, about 4 years. The case had several decisions in it by Justice Stern on the Superior Court level. Eventually, the case got positioned, so it got settled, but I think it took about 14 years.
Number 18.
That's another decision in the same case by Judge Stern.
Number 19.
This was a tax sale case, and we attacked a tax sale of our client's property. We prevailed in the Superior Court, but unfortunately we did not in the Supreme Court.
Okay. Number 20.
Gardner versus Baird. This was an adverse possession case regarding a beach in South Kingstown. And that my recollection on this is this was sent back because even though we had prevailed, the other party was going to amend its complaint, and the Supreme Court let them do that. And the case went back to Superior Court, but settled at that point.
Forgive me if I did, but I may have skipped the Lamarck versus Fairbanks Capital Corp.
Oh, yes, yeah. This had to do with a mortgage foreclosure and enforceability of a foreign judgment. Probably more the enforceability of a foreign judgment than the mortgage foreclosure in that particular case. But it's more procedural than substantive.
Okay. Could you go to number 22, please?
Yes, FCC Inc. versus Reuter. This was a case that I brought before Mr. Justice Rubine, where I argued that the mechanics lien law, as was written in the state of Rhode Island at the time, was unconstitutional. And he agreed. There was another case of similar note by Judge Silverstein. They both went up to the Supreme Court. While they were pending in the Supreme Court, the legislature changed the law, and it was eventually upheld as rewritten.
Number 23.
Stebbins versus Wells. This was a case concerning purchase and sale of a piece of property located on the Secundit River in Little Compton. And this was the first time the court had dealt with the actual name of the statute is escaping me now, but the Real Estate Disclosure Act. This involved erosion on the property. The case lost in Superior Court, went up to the Supreme Court again, went back down. We lost again in the Supreme Court. These were all summary judgment cases. And I'll never forget what the Supreme Court said when it sent it back down for trial a second time. This case is being sent back to Superior Court in big letters for trial.
And then the next is the other well, you tell me. I don't want to put it at 24.
Okay, yeah, it's the same. That was the first time we lost, and then it got sent back for trial again.
Number 25.
Number 25, I represented mortgage guarantee and title company. In that case, I did a great deal of work for them in the 1990s and in the early 2000s. This involved the liability of a company agent for certain acts that the agent undertook as a title company agent.
Number 26.
Rhode Island 5 versus Medical Associates of Bristol County. This involved a alleged agreement for the granting of an easement across the Medical Associates property, who are my client in that case. This was on Hope Street in Bristol, to get to a parcel of property that was going to be developed behind it. We raised a number of issues, including the statute of frauds. And after losing in Superior Court, the case was reversed by the Supreme Court. So there was no contract to grant the easement.
Number 27.
In Ray Mossberg Real and Stamping Company, this was a bankruptcy court case in which a lease for commercial industrial property actually was canceled under the terms of the lease prior to the bankruptcy being filed. And Justice Valalato ruled that although the bankruptcy was in place, the lease was no longer in place. So therefore the automatic stay did not allow for, did not prevent an eviction of the tenant. I think that they eventually made up their own business way for that.
Okay. The number 28.
Ask Properties versus Alobri.
Excuse me, what property?
ASK.
ASK. This had to do with municipal lien certificates. I think I was I think I was serving as an assistant solicitor in the town of North Kingstown at the time. And there was a question of whether there was an accurate municipal lien certificate that was issued. I believe the town prevailed on that one.
They, a noble serving, by the way, as being a solicitor, just appreciate that. Number 29.
Washington Arcade Associates versus Zoning Board of Review of the Town of North Providence. This had to do with a abandonment of a non-conforming use. And the court, I believe, upheld that the intent to establish the abandonment was not established.
Number 30.
Tower versus Williams. In this case, we represented Mr. Tower, who owned a piece of property out on Snake Hill Road in Gloucester. And under an instrument that was drawn in the 1830s, Mr. Williams actually had the right to cross the road, to raise and lower ponds of water, to operate mill works on his property. The Williams family took umbrage to that, and they blocked him from getting there. We managed to citing actually a statute from the 19th century that had to do with being able to go onto property. It was to foster industrial revolution. You go onto property and repair dams and things of that nature. They could not stop him from doing so. So he could go and lower his ponds of water.
31.
My first Sully Realty Associates versus Zoning Board of Review. I think I was able to get the zoning board's decision overturned because they failed to make significant findings of fact.
How shocking.
Yeah, it was
Shocking.
I was stunned.
I know that you've identified all these cases. I'm going to engage in a cardinal sin and ask a question I don't know the answer to. I seem to remember you being involved in a case in Old Compton that reviewed some U.S. World War II deeds along the shoreline. Am I right about that?
Yes, you are.
What's that case?
That case actually went away because talking about a road that was a private road owned by a family. Somebody in the family broke ranks and deeded an interest in that road to the other party. It was literally 2 days before I was ready to file a motion for summary judgment on the doctrine of merger. The claim actually went back to a will in 1813, but it ended abruptly. But in part of that, I undertook some research, or I had one of my clerks actually undertake some research on the War Powers Act that was in effect during World War II. Certainly in Little Compton, there were many points of interest there that the Department of Defense was very interested in because of potential attacks from foreign enemies during the war. And there were great powers that the federal government has during the war.
Under the War Powers Act.
Exactly.
That's all the cases. I'll move it, please.
Does that address your objection, Mr. Farside?
The objection to the document coming in still stands, but the witness has now put on the record his recollection of the cases that counsel sort of insisted that he do. And so the record has that in it. I don't know why he needs to document at this point. We continue to object to the document as the document contains hearsay.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to allow this in full pursuant to section 1.5.9 of the management procedure. This was submitted 7 days in advance with regard to this expert witness, so that it's going to be entered in full.
Thank you. I would ask that I be allowed to conclude my presentation of this portion of this witness at this time.
Please.
No, conclude
Oh, you're done.
for tonight.
Absolutely. Okay, we'll take this up at another hearing.
As I explained, after we put on our additional fact witnesses, at that point, I call Mr. Che back to testify on facts and evidence in the.
Thank you, Mr. Conley.
Thank you.
Yes, it is.
That's 49 for that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Nothing else to come before us this evening? Right. Do we have another date? Leah, did we put another date down?
No.
Do we wish to do that?
I believe another date, yes.
All right. Give me 1 minute, I'm trying to get my diary. Is everyone in a position to choose the next date? Like, wait a sec. I'm old school, write it down.
Based,
Check.
Yeah.
Availability.
Yeah, let me just, while you're gonna hear the book odds, and there's anything that we need to know. Okay.
What do we have for availability, Leah?
So this place is available every Monday in June.
Can't do Mondays.
You can do Mondays, great. Tuesdays are good except for the 9th or the 30th, so every other Tuesday is available. So that leaves the 2nd, the 16th.
I cannot do the 2nd.
Then
23rd, we can't, we have Sarah. Do we have CRMC on the 23rd?
Yes.
Yeah. I got that written down.
Oh, yeah, in summer there's just one, so it would just be the 23rd after.
I can't do the 13th.
Can't do 13th. Is not a Tuesday. This is in June.
Yeah, 6/13, Tuesday.
16 is a Saturday.
Oh, okay. No problem.
Definitely can.
I thought you said 13.
Yeah.
Looks like we do have a on the 23rd, I think there is a
Yeah.
council.
So now we're looking at the 9th, 16th. Or sorry, the 16th and the 30th.
But I thought June we have two meetings.
9th and 23rd.
I thought,
For two. in
Yeah.
I think July and
August.
August, July and August are the only ones.
So now we're left with the 16th, 16th and 30th. It'll be the 9th and the 23rd.
Sixteenth or the 30th, how's that work for,
Tuesdays?
that's a Tuesday,
Yeah, I'm good.
16 or the 30th, what's?
Both work.
Do we want to schedule both? Just to have two in a row? Yeah,
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, 16th or 30th.
And
we're talking about scheduling both.
Both.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
get it done.
Good enough.
The rarest day in June.
All right, so let's do the 16th and the 30th.
Great.
That way they can't write an article about, what did I say that?
What do you? It broadcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 o'clock work for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I will pencil them in and, I mean, if anything changes, we can let you guys know, but it looks like we should be able to go on those dates.
Thank you.
All right, and with that, having nothing else before us, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
mhm.
All in favor, second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We can adjourn. Thank you, everyone.